Welcome to the Independent Dealer Podcast with hosts Luke Godwin and Jeff Watson, a podcast by dealers for dealers. Here we go.
Hello and welcome to the Independent Dealer Podcast, brought to you by Buckeye Dealership Consulting. And as coincidences would have it, Luke, you are deep in the heart of Buckeye country down there, right?
I am no Buckeye fan. I am a Buckeye fan of Buckeye Dealership, but I do not like the Ohio State Buckeyes. Let's get that straight. But
you guys are down hanging out in Sarasota this week.
Right, exactly. And
what is going on down there? I see it on the Facebook pages. I see it on the community. Dealers are talking about it. Are you guys just down there getting a tan, drinking pina coladas, or is there work being done?
You can see I got a really nice tan going here, Jeff. And I ran into some guys from Ohio. Their tan's not as good, but, you know, maybe it is. Anyway, so we have special guests today, the founder and owner of Buckeye Dealership Consulting Group, I guess it is, and Jason Gosling as well. He's been on the podcast before. Thanks for being here, and thanks for having us. It's an awesome event you're putting on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So we've been advertising for Buckeye. They're a partner of ours, and they do so much for the dealer landscape. And we want to know, Rob, how did you start Buckeye?
I started Buckeye by accident. I used to do reinsurance only for new car dealers. Happened to go through Indiana one day, met a gentleman named Bob Oakley. Bob Oakley told me, boy, that's too expensive for me, the new car program. He said, but if you can do this, and he wrote out basically what a warranty was and what he would pay on a yellow sheet of paper, and he handed it to me and said, I'll get you my friends. I walked out, I called my partners at the new car program. And I said, I got a way we're going to survive the downturn. This is 2007, 2008. New cars are going. Chrysler's shutting dealers. Ford talking about shutting dealerships. General Motors. I said, I know how we're going to survive this downturn. I said, I just found it. My partner said, you can deal with those kind of people.
Thank God, right?
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you right now. Long story short, you know, we've gone back and forth a couple of times. They wanted to buy me. We, of course, did not sell. And it's been just a wonderful thing. If you see the progress of the company, you know, first bringing Jason on a few years back now, and then bringing, you know, Sean Peterson in, Dave and Chuck. I mean, it's been a crazy adventure. We have, you know, of course, we started with 3 employees, myself, my wife, and my son. Now we're pushing 50.
Wow, 50 employees. That gives me a headache. But I guess but if you have good employees, I guess it's not that bad. But so it's a new phase in Buckeye. And it kicked off this morning, I guess last night or this morning, but it's the performance group aspect of Buckeye. And it just looks like this is the future. Reinsurance is always there. And as we've always said, reinsurance is the way to build wealth. But this performance group aspect is very interesting. And they launched it today. And let's kind of go through that. How did that come about within the structure of your original plan of Buckeye?
Well, if you look at the name, I call it a Buckeye Dealership Consulting. Okay. Well, what ended up happening just through, I guess, necessity was we turned into a reinsurance company. We were consulting on that, but we weren't consulting on the operations. We weren't consulting on collections. By the way, I started my career as a door knocker. I started my career, you know, repossessing cars. Okay. So we never provided collection and that type of consulting. Well, when Dave and Chuck became available, I saw that we could do that now. We could finish the circle. And as a give back to our clients, we're providing it. And it means the world to me to do that. Now we've completed the circle. The name does mean consulting. We do offer services outside of just reinsurance. You know, we can do on-site visits. We can do all those things. And we're going to help the states, you know, and we're going to consult with the states. If there's a bill that's going through their legislature that they want to either lobby for or against and need help, I'll put Sean Peterson in a plane on our dime and send him to help them. Okay. I'm not going to ask for anything in return. I'm not going to ask for a nice article. I want to help. If a state association wants training to help maybe boost attendance or maybe boost membership, we'll provide that. We'll do what we need to do. We just got done doing our state tours for all the independent auto dealers throughout the area. We didn't miss any of them. We made every single one of them. We participated, we sponsored, and we want to make sure they know that's going to keep going with us, that we'll help them do that stuff. And I think that goes really in conjunction really well with what the NIADA provides that, which is the national view.
Yeah. And that's, it's great because we need somebody always on our side, and we do have national, which is great. We do have states, but to have, another company to help out, it can't hurt, right? Jason, where do you see, what's your role at Buckeye, and where do you see the performance groups going?
Yeah, so I think the performance groups are really a way for us to provide support and additional value for our clients. We've kind of gotten pulled in this direction by listening to our clients. Hey, this is an additional level of support that we need. The better that our clients get at any process that they have, whether it be selling ancillary products, collections, inventory acquisition, and that's what a performance group does. The more successful our clients are, the more successful Buckeye is.
What's the difference between the performance groups and the groups that we're used to?
Yeah, so I think what Buckeye is going to do is first, we're always going to be about the dealer. And what I mean by that is every group today was led by a dealer. There's real feedback from the dealer. They're directing it. So all we're doing is helping facilitate and bring people together. The second thing, and we announced this today, and we think it's going to be very, very powerful, is we're going to be very much a data-driven performance group organization. We're going to have Buckeye Analytics powered by AMS that was announced today. For those that are familiar with, prior groups where maybe multiple hours going through a composite, Buckeye Analytics is going to have, with your permission, we will be able to extract that data straight from your DMS, pretty much no matter what DMS you're on. We will import that, splice the data, and provide a real-time dashboard before you show up to your 20 group. Very powerful tool for you to be able to have. And that's included with everything if you're included in the groups.
Well, that's something Jeff always complains about.
You guys know me. I always complain about the hours it takes me to report my composite numbers. I'd rather spend that time analyzing the numbers than spending that time trying to collect them from 5 different reports. And to that point, we spend so much time in our 20 groups going over the composite data, and you want to reach across the table and punch someone when you just know their data is not entered right, or when they
that was brought up today for sure.
Yes.
Or when they, maybe we're not accounting for it the same way. You're taking gross after transport. I'm taking my transport out. And so all of a sudden you have a line for this and I don't have a line for that. And so I'm trying to dissect whether or not I'm benchmark or not. And it's only because maybe I'm looking at things a little bit differently or just dissecting it. So yes, to take the personal preference and the errors and to take those things out of it would be great, because sometimes I'd like someone to look at my data and be like, hey, Jeff, you're pulling this report. It's not accurate. Right. Like, it doesn't match with this report. Did you ever think about that? And those of you that are IDMS guys, you know what I'm talking about. But so yes, to have a third party checking in on that. So can I ask you guys the hard question? Where does this, if I'm a dealer, because I'm not a Buckeye customer, and I understand you do need to be a Buckeye customer to be in a performance group, obviously. If I become a customer, is there a place for both a dealer performance group and a 20 group? Can I be a 20 group member through the association? And can I also be a Buckeye dealer performance group member?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, I think the more you converse with other dealers, no matter if it's NIADA, NCM, or performance groups, the more you interact, that's your grad school training. You're here today, you need to be over here. The only way you're going to get there is by someone helping you and saying, okay, your data's wrong, or hey, you're doing this, and by the way, that's wrong. And you got to kind of check your ego at the door. The only place you're going to do that is with other dealers.
It's so true. The way, I want to go back to the data thing real quick. That was an amazing presentation. I figured I would be wanting to go to sleep, but then when I was sitting there, the amount of information they are able to put into dashboards to make it look simple is awesome. So we're all used to flipping through the pages and looking at it, but Jeff, you'd be amazed here. There was dashboards and there were graphs, and I was like, oh my gosh, I understand it now. It all makes sense. Right. So it's funny that, not funny, but it's interesting that y'all are leading the charge in the new data that we all need. If you haven't been looking at composites for 10 years, you can hop right into these groups, I think, and be able to get ahead. And especially if I don't have to put that data in myself.
One of the biggest things I've heard is the composites and the data is a large barrier to entry.
Yeah.
It's very overwhelming. If you don't have the time, or maybe you don't have the resources or someone on the staff to do that, it's a barrier to entry. I can't get that before going to the group. It's just easier not to go, right?
And we're even toying with the idea of putting it out monthly. Right now the groups meet, right now we're gonna have our groups meet quarterly, but we're talking about putting out the data monthly so that they can see the data in real time.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
It'll
so
mean
key.
something.
Yeah, it's so key. Go back to one of the things you were talking about earlier is how much Buckeye seems to care about the state level, and in the state level, we're members of our respective states. Mine's a lot more robust than Jeff's is. How can Buckeye help with these states that are trying to get there? Because I know that y'all are wanting to do that, but you got states like Kentucky and Utah and Louisiana and Tennessee that are really struggling to get a hold. How do you see Buckeye helping to do that in the future? Is it through dealer groups? I mean, is that how we get everybody on the same page, you think?
Yeah, I think it's first listening to what our dealers, so we've had that question, and every state is probably going to have a different need, right? Whether that be through having a state-specific dealer group. We've been approached about that because there may be certain needs in a certain state that there's a need for a group, and maybe that group meets once a year, twice a year, whatever that may be. I think next, that's through just us showing up, right? Whether that be through, training support with some of our staff on whatever topic that may be there, or obviously sponsorships and whatnot. We're very active in all the associations, and we think it's important there to be in support them.
Well, about training, y'all announced today that there was going to be a video library on the website, of the Dealer Performance Group website. So if you do hire a collector, you're going to have data to go in there and be able to watch a training video and then take a test afterwards. I mean, that is something we've needed for a long time. I know that my sales training is different than Jeff's, but if we had a baseline to start with, that would help everybody. I mean, that's a big advantage, and that's going to be free with your membership to this as well, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, because you hire people throughout the year. You can't wait for an online class to come, where it's done live, or you can't wait for one to go in person. You need it Monday morning when they start.
Yeah. Can y'all get a tech trainer to do that?
Unfortunately, we need one.
Oh my gosh. We won't even start down that.
What other services do you guys kind of have up your sleeve, or from a consulting type, anything else we need to know about?
Yeah, so great question. I mean,
you do on-sites, right?
Yes. So you will hear us. We're talking about on-sites, and maybe that's service, collection, sales, and then look, we're still going to stay, true to our core. We're at our core. We're a provider of reinsurance products, for independent and buy here, pay here guys, formation, management of that, and all the ancillary products that come along with that. And while we were already very good at training on that, and sometimes it did overlap into some of the other processes, now we're full spectrum. We can do it all.
Well, that's great. I tell you, there's a lot of people down here, Jeff, by the way, 109 dealers.
Wow.
109 unique dealers from around the country, and 150 plus people join us for the cocktail reception, and looking forward to dinner tonight.
Yeah, and what's interesting, Jeff, again, we've had people, I've had dealers come up to me while we were here and said, hey, I know who you are. I've heard your voice before. We're getting used to that. But I tell you, there's so many dealers here that I've never seen it at a convention, and that's a big deal.
About 40 of the 109 are first-time attendees.
Never been
any type of
performance group, 20 group, any type of lead group. First time attendees. That's a powerful thing.
And it was more their opinion that it was wrong. Okay. I mean, not saying anything against the other ones. It was just their opinion that, I don't fit there.
Yeah. It's intimidating. So let's get real. I walked into 20 group in 2015, 2014, whenever it was. And I was probably a little dumb. So I walked in and I was like, I know everything. What am I doing here? Well, I got a real eye opener, right? And then it took me going back to finally get up to speed. But I've met some of my best friends from 20 groups. from performance groups or whatever, and they make me better every time. But it was so scary to walk into that room the first time and just put it all out there. It's scary. So to break down the barrier of people getting into these groups is big. It makes better dealers, and that's really what we want.
That's what we all
amazing.
want.
That's what we all want.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the biggest impressions I've had just from, the 24 hours on site is, how open-minded everyone has been about, hey, being here, sharing, and, the old saying, the rising tide lifts all ships. That is really what this has been about so far. Yeah,
I agree. It's a new, fresh concept that I think so many dealers will like, and I think it's something that we'll see being very successful in the future.
Can I ask another follow-up question on my last one? I don't want to get too far into the nuts and bolts, and maybe you guys haven't decided yet, but is there anything about the format that dealers might find refreshing or more exciting? You'd mentioned they're going to be meeting quarterly. Does that mean you're going to have each group will have 4 meetings a year?
It's three.
It's actually three.
It's actually 3.
Okay.
This year we're doing them in these large formats where we have everyone at one. And then our next one's gonna do the same thing. We're gonna have everybody in Phoenix. Okay. But after that, we'll break out and we'll just start doing them in smaller groups. But we hope to do this once a year, meet as a group so we can share ideas and like jump rooms. I mean, we have, you talk about innovative. I'd love to see half of this performance group meet with this half of that performance group. Well, yeah, by the way, we got 5 of them today. Let's take half and all move around and share ideas. Because, one of my clients came to me and said, listen, Rob, and they've been in the same 20 group 19 years. So I'm tired of hearing the same 19 guys for the same 19 years. Now they're all friends. You talk about being, but what we need to do is we need to get those fresh ideas and put a disruptor in. Put someone in there to say, hey, this is not, what are you talking
Push
about?
the envelope. That's right.
Yeah.
And that was very, very neat about this, having the performance group with every group here to start with, because it's almost like being at a convention, but a different ball game, because you can walk up to people who are, there's some really big hitters here, and I just get to run things past them that I typically wouldn't have done because I wouldn't know who they were. And they're here, wanting to get better as well. And they're already, in my opinion, great. But having everybody at one location, I like it. I like that idea. But they talked about that today, where if you wanted to have 3 half days, they would do that. And there's no set rule to these performance groups, is what it sounds like.
No.
So that's the long and the short of it. And the next one is January 27th through 29th in your neck of the woods, the Sheraton Grand out Wild Horse Pass in Phoenix, Arizona. And you can sign up now, correct?
That is correct. It is live, and we expect double the enrollment.
And the new, I guess it's a new website, dealerpg.com. Is that right?
That's it.
Dealerpg.com. So if you are a Buckeye member, client,
Correct.
go sign up and be there in January, because it's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like the idea of having a convention type feel, no offense to you guys, but without the vendors, where you're like, we're all, everyone here.
Yeah.
It's so true, Luke, but like, why did we never think about like, hey, maybe we should combine 20 groups once a year, maybe 2, that's just, it's a very refreshing idea. And maybe that group didn't want to be with my group. I don't know, but just to mix that up seems smart to a large degree.
There's been some really positivity with the crossover, guys that, I've heard of you, but so there again, everyone has just been very open and forthcoming. A lot of positive energy. And
they're all clients, so they have something in common. So
right.
Here, we know them all, so we can walk them. If I don't know them, Jason knows them. I guarantee you, we pretty much know all of them, but we can walk them up and we can introduce you to whoever you want to meet. Right. And they'll talk to you.
That was huge.
And they're all good people. So they do have a fraternity, so we're able to walk them over. We want everyone to be our client. Okay.
Yeah.
We're trying, but that's what kind of breaks, I think, the barrier down, and we can kind of mix them up. Because we can say, oh, come on, You don't like Jeff? Come on. You know?
You must know him too well.
You know?
What about the little guys? So talk to me about the small 1-2 person operations and some of the dealers that listen to this podcast that are just kind of getting going. Where do they fit in this? Say they're selling, 10 cars, 15, 20 cars a month. Can they be a Buckeye client? What kind of reinsurance products? Well, I know that they can go back and listen to some podcasts, but even if they don't want to start their own warranty side, there's still some Buckeye products they could sign up for and sell in their dealership, even if they're 100% CAC, and to be able to join into even a small group, right? I mean, you guys have beginner groups, 101s.
Absolutely. We're going to have an open arms philosophy to anyone, dealer that's selling. And yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be reinsurance, and there can be a long-term plan. And that goes along the assessment that we would give to any dealer that we speak with, in regards to, hey, what works best? We do walk away products where, hey, we may want to give the risk to someone else, or we may determine that, hey, yes, you participating in a reinsured program makes the most sense. But the thing I would challenge is, yes, please reach out, because ultimately any dealer that wants to get better, the performance group is where they need to be.
And that's big with small dealers, because for one, they're scared sometimes because they don't know what they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can start getting them using products properly and get them in these meetings, they're going to be big dealers someday, or bigger.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes just knowing where to go. I mean,
Yeah.
Sometimes, I think I'll say the most common thing we see is we get into a dealership and they're using a wrong account.
Yeah.
We've got to suggest maybe a better accountant.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is a product, or, they ask us questions like, what car breaks down the most? Simple things like that. We know, okay. Now with, adding to Dave and Chuck and Sean, we know much more about operations, but we can help them. And then as far as like coming down to Longboat Key or coming out to Phoenix, they don't have to do that. We can do it virtually with them.
Yeah.
Right.
They can attend virtually. They can attend a 20 group virtually once it breaks out. There's things that with technology nowadays, we've all learned over the last year, technology, we can do it.
Correct.
And that's been a lot of 1 and 2 mom and pop shops is they can't get away sometimes. And so having that training video and having virtual performance groups, I think will rise the boat for sure.
Absolutely. And I think another theme of the weekend I set into a group, and a lot of it was the mistakes that have been made. And someone talked about the expense of an education over a 10-year period of whatnot. Look, the challenge I would have to some of those smaller dealers, if you're listening, absolutely learn from others. Don't make those mistakes if someone can educate you to do otherwise.
Yep. And that's what our podcast is about. And that's what these groups are about for sure.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Guys, that great information. You guys know where to go, dealerpg.com, right? That can get you signed up for the upcoming, but if you need to learn more about Buckeye and become a Buckeye client first, how do we do that?
Please reach out to me, Jason Gosling. Yes, I can be reached at jgosnell@buckeyereinsurance.com. Happy to help anyone.
Okay. No dealer too small, no dealer too big.
No,
Correct.
no such thing. There's no such thing.
Well, great. Jeff, I wish you were here.
Yeah, have fun down there. Fly safely.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
So glad you joined us. Please take a minute to leave us a review and share this podcast with a friend. The Independent Dealer Podcast. Dealers helping dealers.